Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I hope you had a great weekend. Today, possibly, there could be a verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And, of course, as we now know, there has been a lot of shenanigans going on as it relates to what's going to happen with that verdict. The NBA is braced for the verdict. Everybody's braced for the verdict. The violence is going to come from the verdict. Let me tell you something. There's going to be violence no matter what the hell the verdict is. If it's a verdict of not guilty or it's a verdict not of the more serious charges, there will be violence. If they convict him of everything, there's going to be violence. It's not going to make any difference. There will be violence. Why? Because those people leading the charge for violence want violence. Now, I just want to just say that I think it's pretty obvious that Derek Chauvin is going to be found guilty. It was foolish, as I explained, for him not to testify. It couldn't get any worse for him. It will be interesting to see what they actually convict him of. Again, one other reason why he should have testified is it would have probably helped him on the old intent issue to hear from him. Lawyers are dumbasses. But ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, they put pig's blood outside the home of a defense witness. It's just unbelievable. This is called justice through mob, trial by mob, intimidation of jurors. You don't think that the jurors and their family members aren't paying attention to what's going on? It'll be interesting. Sometimes they get some steel in their spine. Maybe the jury says, we are going to do our job no matter what the intimidation is. I hope that's the case. Meanwhile, on this issue, Maxine Waters, remember she denied saying go out there and commit violence when it was clearly on the record, videotape that she did after January 6th? Well, now Maxine Waters is saying, if there's a not guilty verdict, get more confrontational, take it to the streets. Political gangsters. I mean, Maxine Waters sees herself as a black godmother. Gangster. And she does it with pride. She does it with pride. That's where we are in this country. And why does she get to do it? Because the media allows her to. Don't ever forget, this woman and her husband are crooks. The shenanigans relative to the bank that they were involved in, check that out. Google that issue. Maxine Waters' husband and bank. See what pops up. Does anything ever happen to Maxine Waters? Hell no. Why? Because she's got herself a big dose of black privilege. Double dose. She's a woman black. Woo! Double dose. Breonna Taylor's mom. This is interesting. Breonna Taylor's mom, of course, Breonna Taylor being the young lady that was shot and killed in Louisville, comes out and blasts Black Lives Matter, saying they never did a damn thing for her and her family. Woo! Pretty interesting, isn't it? Kind of tells you what Black Lives Matter is about. Now just think about that. Breonna Taylor's mom says they never did a damn thing for her. Meanwhile, of course, one of the founders is buying up real estate. You know what? Generally, I'm happy for anybody that has the means to go buy some real estate. But if you are a declared Marxist and you're all about that, I think you need to sleep on the floor somewhere in like a cruddy apartment, right? Walk the walk, talk the talk. Attacks on police. It is off the charts what's going on all across the country. Attacks against police officers. AK-47 guys shooting it. Now, do you think that got the AK-47, bought it lawfully? You think any gun law is going to keep that guy from an AK-47 that he's shooting through the windshield? And why wouldn't you? Especially if you're a black. If you're a black man in this country who's a gangster, you've been told it's open season on cops. And you're going to get away with it. Nothing is said. Nothing. In fact, Psaki, press secretary for Biden, Friday said something about, Well, this is a real issue about police using excessive force relative in arrests and whatnot. Lawlessness. The political gangsters, the Democratic Party, walk step with criminals. And they love it. Remember Cuomo? Cuomo thinking he's Sonny Corleone? See, it's all part of that. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Eric Holder. It's cool to be a political gangster. They want to be a gangster. It's unbelievable. LA County Sheriff, who has no love for the district attorney in LA, claims that the policies of the LA district attorney is what's leading to all the violence in the city. By the way, that sheriff looks just like the sheriff that plays in LA County Sheriff, Steve Dorff, in the Fox show. He looks just like him. Wow. It's pretty good. Bill Maher. Bill Maher's come out. I tell you, this guy, I always liked him. I don't like all of his politics, but some of the things I like he says. He says the weakness of the Democrats is their lack of common sense. And he's also going off on them on the police violence and the border issue and everything else. It's great when you see a true liberal realize how pathetic the left has become. One of their own, Bill Maher. Remember, Bill Maher defended people with their guns rights. He's like, man, I want a gun. Joe Biden finally called it a crisis down there at the border. But folks, it doesn't make any difference. Kamala Harris hasn't had a press conference about the border. She's in charge of the border. She apparently went to Guatemala and Mexico, claimed that there was an agreement. Now there's not an agreement. They admit there's not an agreement. They want this to happen. Really? They want it to happen. It's going to bite them in the butt, baby. It's going to bite them in the butt. Like I said, Biden's like a drunken sailor doing anything and everything to please the far left until 2022, because he knows it's going to be short-lived. I mean, the average, come on, let's say you're a Democrat. Think about it, Democrat. Let's say you're an elderly Democrat who lives near the border. What the hell would you be excited about what's going on the border? Why would that excite you? Oh, by the way, I forgot this. Bill Maher also leveled Cuomo on the handling of the COVID, and he supported 100% what DeSantis was doing, admitting lockdowns didn't work. Woo! Human trafficking. It's going on carte blanche. How come the left media doesn't lay that at Biden's feet? Again, this proves my point that I say over and over again, how the left is in bed with criminals, sex offenders, the human trafficking that's going on, MS-13 drug trafficking, open borders, let it all come in. I mean, I have to wonder, are these Democratic politicians maybe truly leaders of drug cartels? How else do you explain it? Who can be for these things? The Democratic Party political gangsters. Indoctrinating children. You know, there's been some big hoopla of this math teacher from this fancy school, and a parent pulled their kid out of the school. And this parent said something that resonated with me. He said, a parent has a moral obligation to protect their children from false indoctrination. And that's true, isn't it? I mean, if you know that your school is indoctrinating your kids with a bunch of bunk, you have a right to speak up. Take your kid out of the school. Find a different school. Speak up about it. Fight back about it. That's the only way things are going to change. It's truly amazing what they're trying to spin in schools these days. I feel sorry for all you parents now. I'm worried about it because I got grandkids. Now, they go to private school, so I'm less concerned about it. But I feel bad for parents out there raising kids. What's going on education-wise? Speaking of indoctrination, Disney announces they want gender-flexible costumes. Gender flexible costumes. What are they going to do with Donald Duck? Are they going to blend Mickey and Minnie? I mean, what are they going to do? Daffy Duck? Does Daffy Duck put on a dress? I don't know. What are they talking about? Gender neutral costumes. Does Snow White blend with Prince Charming? Do the 7 dwarfs have to put on skirts? I don't know. Gender flexible costumes is their phrase. Again, kids exposed to this stuff. Maine. There's a Maine college that is fining people who don't wear a mask $50. $50. Soon they'll be incarcerated. Michigan, you know what? They've got the biggest COVID problem in the country. So what is their solution? Their solution is, we're going to make those 2-year-olds wear their damn masks. No kidding. 2-year-olds have to wear masks now. That's the problem. We all know that kids don't get COVID. Whitmer, these jackwagons, these jackwagon politicians, they just throw stuff out there. We're going to do this now. We're going to do this now. No common sense, no logic, no pragmatism, no solving a problem. But by golly, we're going to put masks on those 2-year-olds now. That'll solve our problem. 2-year-olds don't even get it. Democrats, you know, Joe Biden keeps throwing Jim Crow out there about Georgia election law, which is all bogus. Washington Post even ripped them. Do you know who created the Jim Crow voting laws? I mean, these are laws that had to do with, you know, you had to be able to read, you had to be able to pass this test, all these other laws that they had to suppress voting were all passed by the Democrats. The Democrats, until like 1980, controlled the South. Every state. The Democrats did. All the Jim Crow laws of the South were given to you by Democrats. That's that simple. Reagan is the one that started the wave of Republicans across the South. Incredible. Chris Cuomo says that the only way that the police violence is going to stop is when white kids start getting shot. Folks, you can check the stats. Whites get shot all the time by cops, and you know what? There's no riots and there's no news reports about it. Again, black privilege. I wonder how many blacks out there, I'm being serious, gangsters from the inner cities are like, I want to do something to get shot. Not killed, just shot. So I can get rich. Resist arrest. Take a bullet in the knee and then blame the cops. Get rich. Chris Wallace, you know, he continues to be the biggest Biden shill. I mean, he actually questioned Texas Senator John Cornyn about, does it serve any purpose to question the mental state of Joe Biden? What? You question Trump's for 4 freaking years. Don't you know, there's some people, you know, you're not, I've learned this because I'm a mature adult now. You don't make fun of somebody's looks because they can't help it generally. But I'm sorry, keeping it real, isn't it true there's just some people, the sound of their voice and their look just drives you crazy, right or wrong? Chris Wallace is one such person. Just looking at him and then listening to him, I can't stand it. I cannot stand that guy. The way he talks, his mannerisms, his look. Talk about some white privilege. It's Chris Wallace. Matsuyama, who won the Masters. He's like 27, 29 years old. Joe Biden called him a boy. Now, where does that come up from? You know, we got all these tapes of Biden saying all kinds of crazy things to blacks that gets ignored during the political campaigns. Called him a boy. He's a nice boy. Nice boy? What are you talking about? Joe Biden is more of a racist than Donald Trump ever was. Because Trump never was a racist. In fact, We've all called for it, haven't we? Show us one example. Show us. Video, caught on, whatever. Trump. Nothing. Speak loudly and carry a twig. This is great. This is Devin Nunes commenting about Joe Biden's foreign policy. You know, TR was talk softly and carry a big stick. Well, it is true. Biden's always yapping away. Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, our foreign enemies do anything they want. I mean, like Iran. Are you kidding me? We had Iran right where we needed them to be. Biden lets them off the map. Why? Political gangsterism. And I said this to my buddy Randy McCaffrey this weekend. You know what? When the FBI is corrupt, which we now know it is, isn't it over? Isn't it over? You have the media and the FBI now lets the political gangsters do whatever the hell they want. You know, crime is just like water. Bruce Lee was famous, was talking about water, you know, just flows, different forms. It always seeks the lowest level. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just natural. Well, that's the same way as criminals. Criminals are going to do whatever the hell. Biden spoke out about how terrible the crime is in his country, the shootings and everything else. You're the cause of it. Again, I coined this phrase, political Munchausen. They create the problem, then moan about it. They moan about it. It's not a gun problem, it's a criminal problem. Israel and Iran. This is how bad Biden is. The Biden administration doesn't want Israel bragging about them taking out, through a cyber attack, an Iran nuclear facility. Hey, don't brag about that. Don't brag about that. We don't want to hurt the feelings of Iran. Canada, our liberal brothers from the north, they are adopting a policy that they're wanting neighbors to snitch on neighbors. Do you believe it? Now, where does it? Sounds like East Communist Germany to me. Sounds like a Soviet Union to me. Good golly. Matthew McConaughey is interested in running for Texas governor, and the polls show him up 10 points on Abbott if he runs. You know what? I always thought this. If I was a political candidate, there's two people that I would hate to run against. I'd hate to run against a woman, and I'd also hate to run against a celebrity that everybody liked. I mean, who doesn't like Matthew McConaughey? I mean, he's not a Kardashian. He's Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. I mean, I think if McConaughey runs, he wins. Maybe Abbott can talk him out of it. NBA ratings are tanking. Isn't it great? There you go, LeBron. There you go, buddy. NBA ratings are like whoosh. You know what? They keep dishing out all this money to these baseball because of the TV contracts. I can't wait for Armageddon for Major League Baseball. I think football will dodge it, but Major League Baseball and the NBA, I don't know how they keep paying this money when the TV ratings keep tanking and they don't have butts in the stands. I'm telling you, something's going to break sooner or later. At least I hope it does. Lesbians versus trans. You got to love this battle. Regular lesbians, for lack of a better term, regular lesbians are upset that the transgenders are being mean and nasty to them. Whoa! I'm going to keep it real here. I had this gay manager of Bulldogs down in Newport and Levee. Was a really neat guy. I really liked him. He was a cool dude. And we had these candid conversations. I used to ask him, I said, man, I want to know more about this. Okay, so I would talk to him about it. And he said in the gay community, there's all kinds of friction from the people who are like straight up normal gay guys and the flamers that he called them. That's not my word, that was his phrase. They hated the flamers who brought all the negative attention to being gay, as they perceived it. I thought it was interesting. I said, so you all don't get along? He goes, oh, no, we don't all get along. I said, wow, that's pretty interesting. Well, now we know lesbians and transgenders have issues. Can you blame them? Can you blame them? Trying to win all their sports? 90% of America support legalization of pot. I think the issue is solved. 90%? How do you run up against that? I think it's time for every freaking state to approve pot, because guess what? That public opinion ain't changing anytime soon. People now recognize that fact and that reality. Floodgates are coming. Cannabis for everybody. And speaking of cannabis, you can't make this up. The highest court in France ruled that a criminal who threw a Jew off a balcony to their death cannot be found guilty because they were high at the time. That's not the law in the United States, folks, just so you know. Do you believe it? Get stoned in France, do what you want. Man, I was stoned. And last but not least, I want to comment on the Prince Philip funeral. Ladies and gentlemen, American Jury and Bulldog Nation, I don't generally cover this stuff because I think it's, superfluous. But you know what? Prince Philip, and I think it's great because I've watched every episode of The Crown like many of you, is Prince Philip was a throwback from a different time and place where there really was duty and honor. And you can say all you want about the crown, royalty, and all that. You know what? England likes it. England wants to keep their monarchy. It's their business. They want to do it. And Prince Philip represented that monarchy incredibly well. Man, they were married 77 years, I think. Dies at 99. She's 94. And then you got somebody like Meghan Markle who wants to try to destroy it and hurt it. The biggest thing I took away from it all is the contrast between Philip and Meghan Markle. And think about that. My favorite royals, the Queen, Philip, Kate, and William. I'll bet you they're yours too. Charles, weirdo. We know all about Andrew, weirdo. Edward's all right, he's solid. But then you got little Meghan Markle playing the LA game. Think about that. She goes on Oprah. She plays it the LA Oprah way. And then you got Prince Philip showing how it's done. It's pretty interesting contrast. And I'm sorry, a wreath with a little handwritten note isn't going to cure that. By the way, everybody act like maybe there was some reconciliation between William and Harry. I say, ain't no way. Maybe some cordiality, but if you think that what Meghan Markle and Harry did is all of a sudden going to be forgotten, the damage and harm that they tried, by the way, it didn't work either. That's deep. That's a deep wound. It's not going away anytime soon. What I was hoping for watching this whole thing was maybe Harry will say, man, I miss these people in this place. I'm going to go home and tell Meghan I'm out of here. Because I still say that's where it all ends. There's no way Meghan Markle and Harry stay married. Not a chance. This is a Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.